Good morning. Today I'm going to change the bearing again on my Ratcliffe wheel. These things seem to last about 2 years. Yeah, that is, unless I'm putting a poor bearing in. Anyway, it's not too big a job. Right, so here's the wheel. Okay, so we'll go through in stages then. The first thing you need to do is remove this. I'd already loosened it off. The next thing is to remove the wheel tray itself, and it's held in place by 4 screws. 3 screws, and there's the third. Now, first thing I want to point out is, as you can see, that's the one I've removed. These are horrible things. It's not really. They get so worn. I've had to bash that one off. So, if you're going to do this job, it will pay you to have on hand an alternative. So it's the same thread. It's a bolt this time rather than a screw, and I've just put a washer on it. So that fits, and I'll get some grease on it as well. So for the next time I come to take it off, hopefully it'll be easier. Right, the tools that you'll need are, starting with a large screwdriver if you've still got the screws in. A mallet, just in case you have problems with those, a socket set, an Allen key set, some WD-40 should the screws be a bit tight, a hammer just in case you need to bash something, and then of course the bearings. The last bearing I put on was this X-Life RA25XL. I'm going to try this one though. They both should fit. But this is a different one to the last one. We'll see if this one lasts any longer. So I've removed the screws from the wheel tray. Now we need to get that just out of the way. As there's a pipe coming through, the drain pipe coming through there, I'm just going to remove these 4 screws that hold that plate into place. It'll make that job a little bit easier. Yeah, so the wheel tray is removed. I've noticed a bit of dampness. I don't know where that's come from. So obviously we can give that a bit of a clean up before we continue. Right, it's cleaned it up a bit. Now the bearing is this thing here, and what we need to do is get untighten the 2 Allen keys that keep it tight against the shaft. Okay, but before I do that, there's another panel we need to remove, which is this one on this side. Right, it's a 2.5mm Allen key, fits these little Allen bolts. So the next thing we need to do is remove the bearing cover, which is held on by three bolts, and the way that you do that is from the underneath. You need a 13mm socket, and we just need to undo those. Okay. Right, that's the bolts removed and the top housing for the bearing. Now this is the tricky bit, actually getting the bearing off the shaft, and that's where this is going to come in. So basically I'm going to put that under the bearing. Hold on. Let's see what we've got here. I'm going to put that under the bearing there, and I'm going to give it a few whacks with the mallet. Okay, so I've loosened the bearing by giving it a few knocks with the mallet. Now it's a case of just getting some screwdrivers under there. Well, get a bit of this on there, and just gradually levering it up to get it off. Right, the bearing's off after a bit of persuasion, and then this new bearing's ready to go on. So make sure when you put it on that you have it the right way around, so the grub screws at the top. And then I'll put it on and then I'll put a bit of grease on there, because I know I'll probably have to change it again. So now it's just a case of getting that in position. The most important thing here, I guess, is you can probably do a bit of knocking up, that sort of thing, to make sure you don't put the bottom of the shaft out of alignment. You need to keep this belt here sort of horizontal. So these are the nuts and bolts that came out from holding the bearing housing. As you can see, I've got a washer and a lock washer. And what I like to do, I like to just dip these in a bit of grease as well. Right, okay, bearing in position, top plate on, don't forget to put both plates on. The final thing, don't forget to tighten up your grub screws. Okay, so the final thing before we start to reassemble it, just basically just have a look, make sure everything's working okay. It seems okay. Better than it was anyway.